It is a beautiful, beautiful. All right, man, not telling no light raining. It is storming actually, even though we give God thanks for the rain. I'm not gonna lie, I came out in my sandals. I'm a foot wet up. It was really actually traumatic getting into the car and getting out here at the studio on a soggy South Florida afternoon. But guess what? Again, with the vibrations that Johnny Too Bad just gave us, I don't mind. Yes, I was in my car chanting and giving God praise based on his beautiful selecting. And the selections were really, on time for me, right? But yeah, anytime we're in that mood, I'm grateful that, even though it's raining, that the blessing is upon the land right now in South Florida. So if you're like me, you're getting wet. Me bring all that. I couldn't even find my umbrella, y'all. I came toes. I'm talking about fully wet up. I don't know. I thought it was sandals weather. South Florida, what's up? But I guess it's not sandals weather today anyway. And as we're going into some beautiful discussion about what we've all been witnessing, if you haven't been watching, this is a beautiful discussion I'm gonna have today on the Democratic National Convention. If you guys are tuned in and watching, you know how I feel. Or you may not. Maybe you disagree with how I feel, but I'm gonna tell you how I feel after watching day one, day two, day three, and tonight will be day four of the Democratic convention, and it's in Chicago at the United Center. And this is where officially the Democratic Party will be nominating, or has nominated now, its official candidate for president and vice president. That would be Kamala Harris, who is currently the vice president of the United States, and along with the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. So, this grand procession that has been going on for the last 3 nights has kept me up very late. Let me tell you, speeches that have been quite moving. I have a few queued up here. I'm going to play some. If you're not watching, you miss out. If you're not watching this, you're watching history, man. Can't make history pass you by. I'm here watching it, crying, taking notes for Uno, and listening to all of the substance. Yes, there was a lot of substance. See, what happens is sometimes we go on social media, and when we dip on social media, we think, oh, we're getting the full picture. You're not getting the full pictures, brothers and sisters. All right, community, let's go. We are only getting the snippets when you watch it in full. And you can watch it on YouTube, right? Democratic National Convention. You can watch it for yourself. They have orchestrated the Democratic Party, the DCCC, has put together one of the most profoundly moving. And I said to myself, how am I going to explain this to the people? How am I going to come onto the radio and say how I felt and what does this program mean? Could I narrow it down to one word? Well, I was looking on Instagram today, and big up Trayvon Martin's mother, Miss Sabrina Fulton. Rest in peace, Trayvon Martin. I was, watching my feed and kind of looking at people's reaction. And Trayvon Martin's mom, Sabrina Fulton, out of Miami, hometown. I was looking at how people felt about what they saw when it came to the Democratic National Convention. And she wrote, if she could describe this convention in one word, McCanta, one word, it was on our Instagram. She said she called it inspiring. And I thought to myself, sis, that's probably the best word I could bring to the people today. Because when we say I've been up late, the thing is, the Democratic National Convention starts at 6 p.m. every day. And so when you watch it, you can watch it online. So if you don't have cable, no worry, you can watch it online and on YouTube and whatnot. Just put in Democratic National Convention. So when you watch it, it's the counterpart to what we just saw Trump and the Republican Party do a couple weeks ago, last month, right? So they had the convention nominating Trump that was in Milwaukee. And so not too far from Milwaukee, in the state of Michigan, right? In Chicago, now it's the Democrats' turn to nominate. And when I tell you the well thought out program that has included what looks to me to be one of the most diverse sets of speakers, panelists, singers, MCs, and moderators, video capturing real American life. When me say me feel good, when me I watch it, I just say, no, sir. The Democrats put some work in this. They put some elbow grease into this. There's definitely a diverse panel of planners when it comes to speaking to the American experience. And when I've been watching, me have some audio me have to play for you. Me have to go play it. 'Cause I can't even put into words how impactful this last 3 days of Democratic National Committee broadcasts have really impacted me. Hearing from former President Obama and former First Lady, oh Lord, I'm speaking into existence, former First Lady Michelle Obama, listening to the two of them give some straight talk speeches, some speeches where you couldn't believe Michelle Obama really said that. Let me tell you, when I say she is finally free to speak her mind, probably something she's been wanting to say about Donald Trump from when the inauguration after her husband happened. Michelle Obama, I forgot to play the audio for you because when she talks some truth about how the politics right now is a divisive politics, and I appreciate the Democrats for trying to bring back hope, hopefulness, joy, positivity, energy into the discussion, knowing that politics doesn't always have to just be a drab and what can I say, us versus them, deadly blood sport where you have to cut down the next person and you have to make the other person feel almost inhuman, right? Dehumanizing the person across the table instead of it being an intellectual exchange of ideas, an understanding of where the vision of the country should be and what it should look like. Let's have a discussion about what the policy plans are. And so when you look on social media, don't believe the hype. Of course, we had speakers last night. I guess I'll go in reverse. Last night was the future and planning for the vice presidential presentation to not only the DNC, the Democratic National Convention last night, and those who were in the arena and those who were watching, but to America. For those who did not know who Governor Tim Walz is, the program was well designed to map out his life from humble beginnings. He's lived in small towns most of his life, governor now, but Tim Walz grew up, he said, in a town of like 400 people. Them that place they're like Nebraska, North Dakota, those side of town, right? Grew up, signed, enlisted for the National Guard because his father served in the military. He said his father, I believe, was a Korean War veteran. And then when he went enlisted into the National Guard, he came back. I don't think he had combat duty, but served locally here in the States. But you see, after he got released to do what they call the GI Bill, or approved, I should say, to do the GI Bill, which is the federal program. Let's talk about again how all of his story ties in to how government can improve the lives of people. This is the discussion we're going to have, right? Because his story, Governor Tim Walz, the selection that Kamala Harris has made to be her vice president, if elected, Tim Walz, you got to look him up. Coach Walz, as they've been calling him, has really opened our eyes from his speech last night as to who he is and what he stands for and how he brings his experiences to now his journey. When me say me eye full of water, the man was so grateful. You could tell there was no pretense about how much the moment meant to him and his family, his wife Gwen, and his children Hope and Gus. Let me tell you, when they finally introduced him last night, and he took the stage. Let me tell you, all his speeches were moving. Bill Clinton spoke last night and made the case for why Kamala Harris is the best choice, among several others. And not taken away from their speeches, but you see when Governor Tim Walz came to the stage, and his speech was relatively short, actually, considering this was his coming out party, showing people who he is, what he stands for, where his family heritage is from, how his life experience as a teacher, met his wife while teaching at the high school, right? Football coach, as they highlighted his old, I think it was from 1990 odd state champions. They brought his old football team onto the stage. Hit the like button, y'all, if you're watching on Facebook. Big up my fans them on the YouTube and on the Facebook. I'll watch me at that. But when his old team that he brought from a record of losing, 0 wins and how many losses, 20 odd losses, He took them in a couple of years to becoming the state champs. And let me tell you, them boys 20 years later, them grown men 20 years later, when me say them find the old jersey them and then put on the jersey them that used to be their high school jerseys. Can you imagine? But they were so proud and so amazingly energized to be a part of this moment. You could tell again authentically they were there to cheer their coach on, Coach Walls, as everybody was saying, coach, coach, coach in the audience as he gave his speech. And I said, as I was saying, his speech was a short one, 16 minutes. It's easy to watch on YouTube, y'all, because you could hear it for yourself. I'm gonna play some clips. Oprah touched the stage last night. Oprah Winfrey had a compelling speech about her being an independent and the election being about decency and whether you are going to exercise what she called, this American right to vote, right? The great equalizer. She is the billionaire. We are what, 100,000 heirs? I don't know. I can't count your pockets. But whatever you are, you get one, she get one. It's of equal power and value. Now, when you want to also step it up, you start make contribution. Yeah, because that's what the Supreme Court has now allowed for corporations and for individuals to make donations to campaigns. That also tips the scale. But beyond that, the one thing that cannot change is one person, one vote, thanks to this democracy. And again, she laid out, this is Oprah Winfrey. I'm going to play a little bit of the Oprah. I'm going to play some of Tim Walz, Governor Tim Walz's speeches from yesterday, because they were so moving. When I say he came out on the stage, that's after, again, his team, his former football team, who were 20 years later, proudly sporting their same jersey. They answered the call. Can you imagine that call? Hey, guys, we're going to be nominating your former coach. This is a high school teacher who then ran for Congress and won in what we call a red district, red Republican, blue Democrat. That's what they call it in this landscape. Red, when they say the red, that would be Republican. And when they say blue, that's why they say blue states, red states, so-called. But I think we have a little bit of purple everywhere, but that's just me. But when they talk about him running in a red district in a predominantly Republican area, and when him said him turn it, he basically flipped it from red to him being a Democrat to blue and winning, serving 12 years in Congress, representing veterans. He's a proud veteran and wants to make sure one of the platform issues that he made sure he addressed while he served in Washington, D.C. as the congressman was making sure the veterans received their proper due, their proper coverage, medical coverage, and other benefits. If you serve, we should be taking care of you. You have pledged your life for this democracy, pledged your life for this country, and served us. The least we could do is make sure you're good. When me say this speech, Tim Walz give. When me say me cry, I water. I was feeling so moved, particularly when Governor Walz and now Democratic vice presidential nominee, Tim Walz, talked about his struggle, him and his wife struggle with infertility. Something that we don't like to talk about, especially in the Black community, especially in Caribbean American communities, is a lot of secrecy and shame around not being able to have kids. Can we get real right here? I've had my guests on this show right here on Suzette Speaks every Thursday, every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. Voice of the Caribbean, I Radio. I've had guest Sandra Ellador. She's a Haitian American that founded an organization called Filling Empty Wombs, Filling Empty Wombs, that helps to advocate for women, particularly who are dealing with infertility, so they'll understand the system. When Tim Walz stood up and on the stage as a man talked about him and his wife's struggle with infertility and how them try for years for a baby. Why does this matter? How is this going to impact you with policy? Because it speaks to reproductive rights, right? This is the biggest issue, one of the biggest issues. You may agree or disagree with me. That's your right. But this is one of the biggest issue right now on the ballot, whether or not women will have control of their bodies. If the government going to be in your doctor's office when it's your turn. Because what people don't discuss is that oftentimes when it comes to having a baby, being pregnant, this is the woman's time that is most vulnerable health wise, where you don't have to necessarily choose to have a termination of pregnancy. It might be medically necessary to save your life. And we have rules now, we have laws, state to state laws, patchwork. Florida now, 6-week ban. 6 weeks when most people don't even know they're pregnant, but I'm not gonna get on my soapbox. Because if it's needed to save your life, you would want it. You would want it for your daughter, your wife, your child, your sister, your mom. But here we are with Coach Waltz, Tim Waltz, talking about him and his wife struggling to get pregnant. And if you ever have dealt with that, you probably know somebody who has dealt with that, knowingly or unknowingly. And he talked out. Let me tell you, this thing was torn up last night. The realness when he talked about how he would get the disappointing calls from the doctor and that she wasn't pregnant and she wasn't pregnant. It took them years. And then finally them have their daughter. And he said he named her Hope. Beautiful little girl, beautiful teenager. And if you could see the level of adoration that these kids, he has Hope, and then he also has a son named Gus. And when I tell you Gus steal the show, his son was literally in tears when the crowd cheered him when he first come out on the stage. Governor Tim Walz, Gus, his son, was so moved. And they said his son has a neurodivergent condition, maybe ADHD, maybe something else on the spectrum. Not 100% sure, but they say he's neurodivergent, his son. Listen, it can't be no realer than that, because of most of America, we know somebody who has children who has been unfortunately infected by some sort of neurological challenge. This is real. This is happening in every community across America, and he's living this experience. So you have Tim Walz coming out, telling us who he is, where he grew up, how he grew up, caring for his neighbors. Mr. Boy, I'm actually excited that there's a possibility that somebody regular, somebody with a normal, average American life experience has the opportunity to possibly serve as the next vice president of the United States, only in America. The small town little boy from the Midwest. And the girl who was raised by the single mom, even though our daddy Jamaican, big up our dad. Yo, she don't really talk. Kamala Harris don't really talk about her father. It seems like they have like more of an estranged relationship. But so you go. She grew up more with her mother, and her mom instilled in her some values. Single mom living in Oakland. Both her dad and her mom came over to the United States as students seeking a better educational opportunity. Our mom has since passed. Kamala Harris' mom has passed. Our dad is, I think he's still teaching in California as a professor in California. However, not to digress too far, Tim Walz talked about his infertility journey, and because it ties into reproductive rights, oftentimes a lot of the folks and families that are impacted by infertility, you have to go rounds and rounds of trying to implant embryos, and sometimes it takes, sometimes the baby rejects, sometimes it doesn't even pass, a certain week stage. But you may require a medically required procedure, the termination. So anybody who want to get pregnant, or want any type of family, man, woman, or whoever, you got to think about reproductive rights, because that is most certainly on the ballot. And I like the fact that when he told his story yesterday, man, I'm really down to earth with it, man. I see you, V Darrow, watching me online. Big up yourself. Nice to see you too, Lisa. I'm more online. Smooth approach. Big up yourself on the YouTube side. Thank you. And on the Facebook side. Shout out to my people watching and listening. I come with the news and the views. I love some politics. Suzette Speak Show live every Thursday and Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. I like to cover the topics that affect the community. I like to anything that I find interesting that we can both learn from. is what I like to talk about here on this platform. I'm going to take some calls. If you want to call me after this break, 850-446-0562 gets you right in touch. I'm going to try to queue up me one at the board, So I'm still learning how to do the video and how to play the little pieces of the speech. I'm going to play some of Michelle Obama. I'm going to play maybe some Oprah. I want you to hear what Tim Walz had to say for himself yesterday. I'm not even going back, man. Some of these speeches have been so moving about what it means to be an American and what we want as our future. Is that we're really voting on, man? We got to really think about it. I'm going to talk a little bit about the results from the Broward races, the Miami-Dade races. There's some watch parties going on tonight because tonight is the big speech. Kamala Harris herself, biggest speeches of her life, will be on stage tonight. DNC. There's watch parties. I seen Papa Keith, big up my brother, in Wynwood. I know there's a watch party at African American Research Library in Broward. I know there's one at Smitty's as well. People are getting together because this is momentous. This will be the first time a woman, first time a person of color, of Black and Asian descent will ever be nominated. Let me tell you, this is history. If you're not watching the DNC, you are missing out. We're going to come back after this break, y'all. More Susan Speaks Show live. Again, you can catch me every Thursday and Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. Keep it locked.
No Legal provides legal services in
areas of immigration. I'm going to try to get myself queued up here, y'all.
Jamaica probate and real estate conveyance. Attorney Open.
Let me put down my monitor. Let me try to test playing this video. I'm going to try my best. I think I turned it off. I think I turned it off. Okay. I want to get a little bit of Oprah. That's what I want. A little bit of Oprah. Big up yourself. Hit the like button. Suzette Speaks Show live talking about the DNC reaction video, y'all. The only thing with playing it online is might have commercials with the YouTube. But let's see what happens.
Get ready to be entertained.
Let me see if I can find.
The sexiest party of the year. It's
so Steve Kerr. Let me see. Hillary Clinton. I forget Michelle.
From New York City.
I forget.
Sweet and Sound. Sunday, September 1st.
Raphael Warner.
At the Readiness Center in Miramar. For ticket info and table packages. 954-226-8530.
Biden's speech.
Soul to Soul 24. War on this Labor Day, September 2nd. Caribbean Music Festival Charlotte comes to Miramar Readiness Center.
I appreciate you watching.
Plus the widest variety of mixed drinks inclusive. Ladies, tickets are 2 for 1, so you can. Tickets online at ShuggetFestival.com.
Thanks for your support. Hello, Lauderhill. Former City Commissioner Richard Campbell is running again for Lauderhill City Commissioner.
All right, how you doing, y'all? Hit the like button.
Master's in physical therapy from Nova Southern University. He received a bachelor degree in political science from the Hunter College in New York City. For 30 years, Richard Campbell has worked as an elected commissioner, educator, social worker, sports coach, physical therapist, counselor, business owner. Richard Campbell is now running for City Commissioner for Lauderhill to build a stronger economy, lowering taxes, enhance local businesses. He will work to provide a healthy, safe, and support service for seniors. Richard Campbell will continue to enhance Lauderhill development and expanding on housing opportunities for all our workers' families. With your force, Mr. Campbell will work with the police department to ensure safety for all our neighbors and loved ones. November 5th is election. Mr. Campbell wants you to vote for him for the next Lauderhill City Commission. Ask your Campbell for your support station. All right,
pick up yourself. Thank you guys
ready for the 2024 edition of Taste of Lauderdale Lakes, presented by the City of Lauderdale Lakes. Join us on September 14th from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. at Vincent Tourist Memorial Park for an unforgettable evening of culinary delights and artistic experiences. Enjoy delicious food and beverage tastings, live music, art displays, and live painting. Plus, savor exclusive mixology creations by Uncle Nearest. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite. General admission for $20 or all access for $40. Taste the best of Lauderdale Lakes. Thank you, Lauderdale Lakes, for your support of this station.
Teddy Upholstery, specializing in auto, gold, sofas, chair beddings, and lots more. For more information, Teddy can be reached at 561-929-5234 or email at teddyupholstery@gmail.com. Teddy Upholstery is located
We're almost done with our commercials.
8 Northwest 8th Street, Margate.
Thank you for your support to this radio station.
WQPN 94.3
In a one, me no call one man.
Yes, y'all. As Suzette speaks live on your radio. Big up everybody listening to Voice of the Caribbean, I Radio. You know, you can catch me every Thursday and Friday doing a little talk show. Me, I try, but me, I go on, man. I'm talking about the Democratic National Convention. I'm looking online. The chat online is very spicy today. Lots of opinion about what people have been watching. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Democrats as a national party have been in Chicago at the United Center, where they are having a 4-day convention, which will culminate tonight. Tonight is Thursday, in the nomination of their official candidate for vice president and president. So last night was the official acceptance speech, if you will, of Tim Walz, who is the governor, serving as governor right now, but hopefully will be vice president. And tonight, Thursday, will be the big speech by Kamala Harris. This will be her first time telling her story and accepting the nomination officially on behalf of herself and her vice presidential pick. And she will be laying out her vision for this country. Huge speech tonight. Make sure you're tuned in. As I was saying before the break, you can call me 850-446-0562. Get you right in touch right here on Voice of the Caribbean, I Radio, Suzette Speak Show. Talk to me, no, come call. You can call and tell me how you've been feeling. If you've been watching, if you haven't been watching, I gotta paint the picture because baby, you missing history. I'm tired. I'm sleepy. I have lost sleep because the only thing I can complain about them start at 6 o'clock, but they have been running after 11. The first night, oh my goodness, that was Joe Biden's night, talking about, you know, why he stepped aside and how he now believes Kamala Harris is the right person to take the torch, and, you know, how much he's been doing over his 50 plus years of service. And it was a thank you. It was a very moving thank you to Uncle Joe, as we like to call him sometimes. President Joe Biden, let me put respect on his name. So he also took the mic the first night, but the speeches have been immaculate. They've been back to back. I've been overwhelmed. Oprah, like I said, took the mic last night. Bill Clinton took the mic last night. The night before, we had Secretary Hillary Clinton on the mic, moving words as to why this election is one of the most consequential, right? It will impact us for years and years to come. That's, again, looking at Kamala Harris and looking at Donald Trump. According to, again, the Democrats, because this is their convention, there's not even any close choice right now. And this convention, again, is to tell the story to the American people of who the two individuals are, who Governor Tim Walz is, and who Kamala Harris is, and paint the picture of what their vision is for America and how it differs from Donald Trump's vision. So if you've been watching and you have anything you want to share, 850-446-0562, or you can comment online. You can watch me on Facebook. Just follow Suzette Speaks, or on YouTube. Shout out to the people watching online, and Instagram as well. Suzette Speaks. Follow me, man. Follow me and I'll follow you back. Suzette, 1Z, 2 T's, Speaks with an S. I mean, we'll follow you back. But we're here talking a little politics today, and I cannot wait. Are you going to a watch party? Are you going to be up watching it tonight? Hopefully they start her speech before 11. But the lead up last night, John Legend performed Prince. Right? Because Minnesota got something to say, where he's serving currently as Governor Tim Walz. The DJing, first of all, as a person who just loves music and how it brings people together, the roll call, the state by state call out of how many votes and how many delegates will go to any candidate and the nominee, basically, because there was no one running opposing her. The musical selection, first of all, the playlist is on Spotify. This is the first time ever on a roll call vote a DJ has been used, and selected music reflective of each and every state of the union plus the territories of the United States as they cast their votes for Kamala Harris, and she exceeded the number of delegates needed. So therefore, she is the official nominee of the party now. And she will be giving her speech tonight, Thursday, tonight. If you have not been watching the Democratic National Convention, y'all, you have been missing out. Each of the days. So there's day 1, Monday, day 2, Tuesday, day 3, yesterday, and day 4 tonight is the last day. Tonight is the culmination of what has been an extreme celebration of hope, of joy, of optimism. Let me say, me ball, me cry, me clap, me stand up, me sit down, me move around those, everything, every emotion that you could think of. But I'm also looking at substance. Don't get it mixed up. When I look at what they stand for, just again, as Tim Walz painted his own family, because I could see the American family. A dad, mom, Gwen, shout out to Gwen Walz. If she clap her husband one more time, when Gwen Walz stand up and cheer on her husband and cry and wipe tears. Listen, they both, you can tell Governor Tim Walz and his wife, Gwen Walz, are genuine people that are humbled and grateful to be walking the path that has been set for them by accepting Kamala Harris's invitation to serve as her vice president. I don't think she could have made a better choice, y'all. The way he speaks, again, he was a football coach, a high school teacher, a former National Guardsman. And when I tell you, they come in like he was in the locker room telling the American people what they need to do, line up information, get to work, as well as humanizing his lived experience of dealing with infertility with his wife, of figuring out how the heck they're going to pay their bills. He's not a rich man. I think he can really, really, really understand the American plight right now, that most of us who go to the grocery store, go to the gas station, look at the bills, we're barely hanging on, many of us. Look how housing is so expensive here in South Florida. People want a better future, man, to raise their kids, to be safe in schools, right? To have freedom. As he said, we believe in the golden rule. What was his golden rule? Mind your own business. darn, I'm gonna use the word darn. Mind your own business is what Tim Walz say. But no matter how that person next to you believe, in America, we help our neighbors. That was his refrain, his motto yesterday. He grew up in a community where we look out for each other. We value one another. We protect one another. He was very, very clear on his ideas and ideals for America. But I'm gonna play some of these speeches so you can think. I don't want you to think I'm hyping up the team. You have to watch it on YouTube. If you never watch it, you have to go back on YouTube. I'm gonna try to play this. Let me play a little bit of Michelle Obama talking about how she knows that Kamala's message is gonna be distorted, and how important it is that we, don't let that happen when it comes to how former President Mr. Trump gonna try to make America afraid of her just because of how she looks. Right? Because she is a woman of color, because she is from a single mom's household, right? Because she is female. There's a lot there. Let me just have Michelle Obama put it in her own words. Let me see if we can play it. Let's try my best. All right, this is Michelle Obama from night 2 of the Democratic National Convention. Listen, you hear the crowd. Let me tell you, Michelle Obama mash up the crowd. When I tell you mash up the crowd, when she made this statement about how demonized she and Barack Obama felt, at the hands of Mr. Trump, and how Mr. Trump tried to make people afraid of them because they were highly educated, hardworking, successful people, as she put it, who happened to be black. But no, we have another one. You notice that Kamala, she don't really, she more focuses on her record, having served as an attorney general of one of the largest uh, attorney general's office in the country, attorney general of California, statewide elected, having served as the United States senator, one of the two senators. Speaking of which, shout out to Stanley Campbell. If y'all didn't know, he didn't make it to November. Debbie Mucarsel Powell defeated Stanley Campbell in the primary for United States Senate on the Democratic side. I think she ended up. I think first of all, the turnout in Broward. I'm gonna have to get back and the turnout in Dade. All of the eligible voters that we have. Let me stop touching the mic. Here we go. All of the eligible voters that we had. And when I look at Palm Beach, when I look at Broward, when I look at Miami, and Mississippi, guys, 16% voter turnout in South Florida, some places, 16%. So out of 100% of eligible voters in the primaries, we average in many places about 15%, 16% of people who actually came out. What is that about? That can't happen in November, you know? We can't sit at home, or there will be an outcome that you might not appreciate, right? The only way to support your candidate, whether it be Trump, whether it be Kamala, is to get out there and vote. But if you stay at home, trust me, the person that benefits is not going to be your candidate. It's the people who show up and exercise their right. That's who benefits. Well, for right now, I'm not going to get on the soapbox looking at the numbers. I wanted to shout out to Stanley Campbell, though. Stand-up candidate, worked hard. I think overall, statewide, I want to believe. Let me open up my I go on local10.com. I think it was 700,000 approximate votes for statewide from all over Florida for Debbie Mucarsel Powell. I think Stanley Campbell ended up with like 200,000 plus votes, and Rod Joseph and a couple others who were in the race. Very valiant effort. I think you can't. All of the candidates. When I was looking up and down, both in Miami-Dade, there were some great candidates that didn't win. Whether it was sheriff, whether it was city commission seats or city council seats or tax collector. Shout out to all three who ran in Broward, Perry Thurston and Dwight Forrest. But the winner was Abby Ajayi. And again, those votes were almost split. 33, I think she got 35%, and the two gentlemen, one got 33 and one got 32%. It was literally a third, a third, a third. So the whole public was basically split between the three of them. The whole public was like, yeah, I kind of like her, I kind of like him. And so we end up with like a three-way split. So I want to big up all the candidates. I'm proud of y'all. It takes a lot of guts to run. It takes a lot of guts to put yourself out there to go on the ballot. And I really, again, I talk about my local candidates maybe some more tomorrow after we hear the big speech. Again, tonight is day 4 of the Democratic National Convention being held in Chicago, Illinois. And in the last 4 days, they have had a marathon session beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern every day, finishing the first night after 12:30. They had Joe Biden give a speech after 12:30. He was going, I stayed up for it, y'all. I was so tired, but I was so moved. Listening, learning, evaluating, considering who would I want to serve as my president of the United States. And again, Trump and the Republicans made their case a few weeks back in Milwaukee. But this week, I haven't heard nothing. Where is old boy? I have not heard nothing, excuse me, from the former president. I have not really seen. He's come out a couple of times saying that Obama was too rough on him in his speech. And when his people tell him he should be going high and talking about the issues and not go low on people. Let me tell you, Michelle Obama, this speech, let me see if we can find some more speech for you. You to listen to. Raphael Warnock was another speech from day 1 of the convention. If you don't know who he is, he's the senator. Remember, all the states of the union have 2 U.S. senators that go and that represent their state in Congress. So you have senators, 100 of them, 2 per state. And then you have U.S. House members, right, which is basically determined how many states has is 435 altogether, but your state is determined by population. What I didn't realize is like some states in the Midwest, they only have 2 Congress people. because of their populations, right? And then House districts can shift and states can get more and less depending on population growth and where people basically are moving. It makes sense in the country. So wherever you live, you have a U.S. Congressperson, right? A House member, House of Representatives member, and whatever state you live in, you have two United States senators. Well, like I said, Stanley Campbell was running for one, but he was defeated by Debbie Muckersell Powell on the Democratic side. Rick Scott, who is the current senator whose seat is up, he will be running against Debbie Muckersell Powell. She's a Democrat, Debbie Muckersell Powell, and then Rick Scott, who is the incumbent. He's currently in the seat. He will be running, and they will have a runoff. Everybody who won will now face the Republican, if there is a Republican, or the Democrat, depending on which side you're on. They will face the opposing party in November, on November 5th, election day. And again, you can start registering for your vote by mail from now. You can start registering for your absentee ballots because you don't have to wait till election day, right? So looking at, again, the Democratic National Convention, again, so many moving parts. If you have not been watching, if you've only been watching clips on social media, it probably won't be doing you justice. You have to go online, go on YouTube and Google these speeches. Let me play a little bit of Raphael Warnock, who took us to church. He is the United States Senator from Georgia, and he had something to say last night. Let's see if I can play a little bit of Raphael Warnock for you. Again, we're listening to Raphael Warnock, day one of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Mm-mm. Listen, Raphael Warnock, who is, what is really interesting about him is that he's also a pastor. He is the pastor of Martin Luther King's old church. And he also, again, serves at the United States Senate. And this, again, when you're watching the Democratic National Convention, Republican National Convention, but they are highlighting Democrats from all over the country. You get to see who is doing what in what states. Again, when you just Google Democratic National Convention roll call to see the flavor, the style, the homegrown feeling from each and every state, and how this is what makes us American. When I was listening to every song that was being played right before the secretary of the convention said, Alaska, how do you vote? Or Florida, how do you vote? And who do you nominate with your delegates for president of the United States? And Mr. Boy, I'm really American, because I know all of this song them when he played little country songs for Alabama, Sweet Home Alabama, or when he started playing the Bruce Springsteen for Jersey, or when he started playing, he could have played Imagine Dragons for Oregon, though. I love that. Got a young girl and a follower. Y'all know Imagine Dragons. Y'all know it. Y'all know the song. You just don't know who sing it. When he started playing the Motown for Ohio, and when he started playing the Mississippi songs and the songs from Georgia. Did you guys see the Georgia entrance? I have to play that for you. We don't have time to find a Little John. Every state of this great union has its own character and has its own identity. That was something that I think our founding fathers had to figure out. This unique system that we have called federalism, where we have a United States government, the federal government that oversees us all, and then we have individual, what we call laboratories of democracy. Each state has its own ability to make its own laws and govern its own people. That's why each state has a governor, right? And a state legislature. Same thing, a House of Representatives and a state Senate. So we also have identities. cultural, musical, right? With our food, with how we talk, our language. When I was seeing the roll call from the USVI, U.S. House of Representative member Stacey Plaskett talking about the history that each state introduced when they introduced themselves. When Maryland, actually they could have played a little go-go for DC or Maryland, but that's all good. When Maryland introduced itself, and Governor Westmore, again, the first African American who has been, again, of Jamaican descent. Y'all see a pattern? Now, don't be mad. Westmore people, them is Jamaican too, baby. Shout out to Westmore. He was a speaker last night and did a phenomenal job. And when the roll call happened, he started talking about the home, that we got to remember where we come from. Maryland being the home of Frederick Douglass, the home of I want to say Harriet Tubman, right? The freedom fighters. We can't forget these histories. When it was Jersey's turn, it was so funny. I'm like, look at all of our interesting and unique state identities. Arizona, when we were listening to our brothers and sisters from the Native American populations, when they gave their greetings from North Dakota and other places in the West that acknowledge their tribal ancestry. When we started to hear people again from the great state of Florida. They actually played, I think, Jimmy Buffett for Florida. I was like, they could have played a lot of different songs actually, because we have a very, Latin influence when it comes down south. And even in Orlando along the I-4 corridor, we could have played a lot of different music, but they chose the DJ chose a Jimmy Buffett song to introduce us. But when I think about this American experiment and how unique of a country, because most countries around the world are very homogeneous in terms of their ethnicity, their language, their look, whatever you want to call it. But in America, baby, we choose to move here. I think it was in Westmore's speech saying, no matter how, I think who did he quote? I think it might have been was it John Lewis he quoted? Don't get me misquoted, but the quote was, no matter who you are, no matter what ship you came on, we are on the same boat now. We are together in this American experiment. The different languages, the different accents, the different food, the different influences from different culture, whether your people came from Italy 5 generations ago, or they came from Jamaica 1 generation ago, or you just got here from Haiti. Whether the idea of this particular convention made me see how important it is that we acknowledge the diversity that makes us America. There's no one person. Michelle Obama said in her speech, there's no one way to be American. We have a common oath to the Constitution and a common belief in shared values of freedom. But it coming like there's only one party. Y'all don't get me started now. Only one party that really talking about being free. There's many ways we can be free. Y'all ready to get intellectual with me? It's many ways of being free. Free to worship your God. Free from tyranny. There's many ways we can look at this as an American experience. And so many different unique experiences, but we're all yet still American. When I looked at my brothers and sisters from American Samoa and the Marianas, the beauty of those people. When I look at Hawaii and the roll call from the Midwest, from Tennessee to Georgia, like I said, Lil Jon came through bopping. Turned down for what? Turned down for what? Wow. When I look at how beautiful this country is, when I look at its people and the diversity of experiences that are all yet still American, I am reminded how fortunate we are to live in a place that allows us this great autonomy, this great freedom that begins with the right to vote. And the Democrats at the Democratic National Convention, y'all, if y'all don't watch nothing else, watch it tonight. Watch what Kamala Harris said. Like I said, watch Patti Aguan. Winwood, Papa Keith, I know is having, I forget, it's called PS Social. Shout out to Papa Keith if you follow him online. Trini brother, big up Papa Keith. He's having a watch party for the big speech tonight for Vice President Harris, who will be accepting the nomination officially from the Democratic Party to run as their president. 75 days left, y'all. What's up? Tonight is the night. There's also watch parties I know going on in the African American Research Library in Broward County. I know also Fort Lauderdale at Smitty's Restaurant. People are gathering because people want to know. People want to be in together as we witness history together. This is not a joke thing. This is history that we are literally watching unfold. I'm gonna say the speech. Damn, I could go back to Tim Walz. I can go to Raphael Warnock. I could go to Joe Biden's speech. I could go to Hillary Clinton's speech. Oprah's speech. I could play more and more, but I have to come off of the radio. If you have any final comments, you can call me 850-446-0562. Get you right in touch. Suzette Speaks, baby. I got something to say today. My heart is full watching the Democrats make the case to the American people and laying out leader after leader what it is that they stand for, what it is that this administration will do differently, and what it means. I wanted to play Kenan Thompson, the comedian, was talking about Project 2025, and baby, he broke it down. I wonder if let me see if this is the right audio before me play it, because Kenan Thompson was really giving us the breakdown of what it means to have a Project 2025 president. Cory Booker did a phenomenal job yesterday of emceeing. Tim Walz, like I said, if you look up Governor Walz, Tim Walz, the running mate, if you see how much his team, his kids, all of his people cried for him, real tears, you know. Me say if nobody no love nobody, Tim Walz's son, Gus. I'm out of time, y'all. I'm out of time. I'll see y'all tomorrow, 1 to 2. 1 to 2 p.m. tomorrow. Suzette Speak Show live, y'all. Y'all know I love you. Sorry I keep going over time. See you tomorrow.
Party of the year. It's
Soul to Soul. From New York City.
Listen, I be getting hype, y'all, but I felt today's show. I really felt today's show. So I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments below. What are your thoughts on the DNC? Did you watch? Did you learn? Which speeches moved you? What policy moves you? I would love to know what you think. All right. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.